Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today is the 7th lecture of pericyclic chemistry, and the topic of today's presentation basically it is the continuation of molecular orbital and symmetry. But however, we are going to discuss another example like previous lectures. Today we are going to discuss conjugated ions and radical system and how molecular orbital can explain their or you can say that symmetry can be applied on these conjugated ions or radical systems for pericyclic chemistry. Here are the contents of this presentation. In the start, we shall discuss about the molecular orbitals of these conjugated ions or radicals, and then we shall talk about the symmetry operations and how symmetry operations can correlate with the molecular orbitals, and how these things can together help us to find the allowedness or forbiddenness of a particular reaction. Let's have a look in the structure of these conjugated ions or radicals. When we talk about a conjugated ion or radical, it means it does have a conjugated system, that is there are alternative pi and sigma bonds, carbon-carbon pi and carbon-carbon sigma bonds. So it means that carbon-carbon double bonds, there are n number of carbon-carbon double bonds, and it is obvious that we are not talking about the carbon-carbon double bond adjacent to carbon-carbon double bond. So because in a chain of carbons there shall be one carbon-carbon double bond and then one single bond and then carbon-carbon double bond. Here two of these example, if n is 1, then there will be one carbon-carbon double bond, and there shall be one carbon that is shown with steric here. Steric or star represents that this carbon has it can either be a free radical, or it could be there can be positive charge or negative charge. It means it can be cation or anion. So there is one example is like there are three carbon atoms having one double bond, and the other one is that is steric one. So this kind of system is called allelic system. So in this allelic system we say that they are basically basically 8 covalent bonds, out of which 5 are carbon hydrogen sigma bonds, 2 are carbon-carbon sigma bonds, and 1 is carbon-carbon pi bond. But this is the basic one, and there are many other analogues of this system too, where n is higher than 1. So it could be that there is possibility if there n is 2, then that will count as this kind of system where pentadienyl radical type of system. So it could be radical, it could be cation, or it could be anionic system. But the interesting part here is that there are these three carbons, two of these are sp2 hybridized because they are involved in carbon-carbon double bond. But the third one carbon is also sp2 hybridized because it also has one unhybridized p orbital, where it's either that shall be either empty, partially filled, or you can say that completely filled with the in case of, like, it can be empty in case of cation, it can be partially filled in case of radical, or it can be completely filled like it may have. So there is another further elaboration of how allelic cations, allelic anions, or allelic free radicals can be represented. Like there can be positive charge on carbon, it shall be called allyl cation. When there is negative charge, it may have 2 electrons, we call it allyl anion. And then in case when there is a free radical or 1 electron occupancy of this p orbital on carbon, then we say that this is allyl free radical. Okay, let's see how molecular orbitals of a allelic system can be drawn. Basically it is done by the linear combination of atomic orbital, that mixing of p orbital with molecular orbitals of ethene is done. Construction of molecular orbital in case of conjugated p system having an odd number of carbons, just like it can be you can say allelic, it can be pentadienyl cation. So these kind of system that has odd number of carbons with the conjugated p system. They can be made in a similar manner like we did before, where we consider two ethylene molecules and then consider the linear combination of atomic orbitals there. So these include cation or anion or free radicals of propenyl, pentadienyl or heptatrienyl type of you can say systems. Such systems, okay, we say such systems in addition to bonding and anti-bonding orbitals, they possess another molecular orbital we call as non-bonding, in which nodal planes pass through the carbon atoms. We haven't seen nodal like this non-bonding orbital in the previous system, but in this case we shall see that how non-bonding orbital arises. And you have to remember that in these cases nodal plane passes through the carbon atoms. That is one carbon atom, it has okay, anyways, let's first consider the case of allylic system bearing carbon or anion or free radical, cation or anion or free radical character. In a allylic system, three new molecular orbitals can be generated by a linear combination of one molecular orbital of ethene component and an isolated p orbital of carbon atom. As per we know that molecular orbital theory, in a allylic system linear combination takes place between one ethene molecular orbital and one p orbital, because they are total you can say three orbitals they are mixing. So we need to consider the result of you can say that these orbitals only, because these three p orbitals only, and thus we need to see that linear combination of p with p orbitals in bonding with the p orbitals of ethene in a bonding manner, and then we shall see the linear combination of p orbitals of ethene with the p orbitals of the p orbital. So one time pi are bonding orbitals mixed with p, and the other time anti-bonding are pi star orbital mixed with p. So in this case you can say that linear combination of p with p orbital in a bonding manner. Bonding manner क्या होगा? With the signs of wave function of two adjacent atomic orbitals, when they match together we say it bonding orbital. Just like you can say that pi and p, we are adding them. So psi1 is the linear combination where pi and p add together. So in this case all the signs they are on the same side and the interactions are bonding. On the other hand, if we talk about the anti-bonding interaction of this pi and p, we shall subtract pi and minus p, and then in this case pi shall be there, and then p sign is inverted, or you can say that you can say otherwise. While the other way around, if we say that pi star and p, if we add them together, we shall see that we have this p and pi star. In the other case they are, in this case they are that is pi star plus p. In their case one bonding interaction is there and one anti-bonding. And in the other case, when we have this anti-bonding where pi star minus p is seen, we have all sign invariants and there is no bonding interaction, all are anti-bonding interaction. So we got these four sets of atomic molecular orbitals. However, we know that we cannot get four orbitals by the mixing of three orbitals, like here three p orbitals that are mixing together. So if you closely see the middle one, we don't get two separate orbitals like pi 2 star or psi 2 star or psi 2 psi 2 hash and psi 2 double hash, because if you see closely then they both are equivalent, because there is one anti-bonding interaction and one bonding interaction, and if you invert them then they are the same, that is they are superimposable on each other. So it means that they are identical. So we can say that there is no p electron density. In this case, if we say that in case of carbon psi 2, a non-bonding molecular orbital is there, because a node is always present at the central carbon atom. It means that there is no p electron density at central carbon atom. However, energy of a non-bonding molecular orbital is same as the contributing molecular orbitals. Hence there is no net stabilization as a result. Just like you can say that why we say it non-bonding. So it's the same reason that you can say that when we talk about bonding, then in bonding we say that there is a stabilization, that is energy is lower than the forming the constituent p orbital. In case of anti-bonding, energy is raised, but in case of non-bonding, because even if you see at this the middle one structure, then the energy of these orbital, there is one bonding interaction and one anti-bonding interaction. So it means that there is no net stabilization, or even there is no destabilization there. So energy remains almost the same as constituent atomic orbitals. So we get three orbitals here, out of which two are bonding, one is bonding, one is anti-bonding, and one is non-bonding atomic. So we got three molecular orbitals in here. So this is the final picture, that how molecular orbitals are formed. That there are three molecular orbitals in Lillich system. One is bonding molecular orbital, other one is anti-bonding molecular orbital that has the energy in between the pi and pi star. You can say it is equivalent to the p orbital. And other thing is that it has one anti-bonding, that is psi3 in this case. So we have these three molecular orbitals in here. Okay. Here is a self-explanatory you can say slide. Basically these are the generalized molecular orbital diagram construction rules. This is different from what we learned about the construction of molecular orbital diagram previously, because in there we check that how molecular orbitals can be drawn. But basically these points, these are the conclusions we draw after constructing molecular orbitals. Like these are the generalization, that how many bonding and how many anti-bonding or how many non-bonding molecular orbitals can be generated. Okay, when we talk about you can say that in case of conjugated p system having an odd number of carbon atoms, just like when we talk about conjugated p system, it means that carbon-carbon double bond, because carbon-carbon double bond is made by two atoms. So it means that that shall have even number of carbon atoms. But in case of conjugated p system having odd number of carbon atoms, it means that there is one carbon atom such that it has either it is steric, that it has either radical, and it should be in the form of radical, cation or anion. So we are talking about those kind of systems like Lillich or pentadiene or alkyne type system. So in those systems we say that they have n-1 by 2 bonding orbitals, n-1 by 2 anti-bonding, and one non-bonding molecular orbital. Why we say so? If we talk about like n is the number of carbon atoms, so if n is 3, if you calculate the bonding molecular orbital, then it means that 3 minus 1 goes 2, and 2 by 2 is bonding. So it means the system will have one bonding molecular orbital. Same goes for anti-bonding, that is if there are two atoms, like 2 minus 1 divided by 2 goes 1. So there shall be one bonding, one anti-bonding, and one non-bonding molecular orbital. And when we talk about like non-bonding molecular orbital, then we say that which orbital shall be the non-bonding molecular orbital is because of the reason that you say that n plus 1 divided by 2. So we say that this is the number of the molecular orbital. Like we say that you had 3 carbon atoms, so 3 plus 1 goes 4 if you divide it by 2, so it means it goes 2. So this is the second molecular orbital. Why we wrote it like n plus 1 divided by second is because we are talking about the number of the molecular orbital. Like here it is the second orbital, and it always lies between bonding and anti-bonding molecular orbital, because we say that bonding has the stabilization and anti-bonding has the destabilization. So non-bonding, it always has neither stabilization nor destabilization. There is another type of conclusion that we draw from the after generalization of molecular orbital diagram construction. So we say that all nodal planes they pass through the carbon atoms of the non-bonding molecular orbital. Like when we talk about nodal plane, that nodal plane is basically it is a plane where electron density is zero. So what happens in non-bonding molecular orbital is that first we say that number of nodal plane is always n minus 1. So it means that if there are 3 atomic orbitals, then there shall be n minus 1. It means that there shall be 2 nodal planes, like one it should be in the non-bonding, and when we talk about like psi n, like we talk about psi m, it is the second molecular orbital. So the second molecular orbital shall have one node. So nodal plane passes through the carbon atoms of non-bonding molecular orbital. It means that there shall be no electron density at the middle carbon atom in this case. So all nodal planes pass between two carbon nuclei in case of odd, that is psi 1 ho, psi 3 ho, just like we discussed allelic system, so on. While one nodal plane passes through the central carbon atoms, and remaining nodal plane pass between the two carbon atoms in case of even psi n. Just like if you have like psi 1, psi 3, psi 5 and so on, it means the middle carbon atom has the nodal plane, and remaining in case of psi 2, psi 4 and psi 6. So we say that nodal plane passes between the two carbon atoms. Just when we had discussed systems like butadiene or hexatriene, in those systems we had nodal planes, like because when we go from the bonding to anti-bonding to, or you can say that from psi 1 to psi 2 or psi 3 to psi 4, so number of nodal planes get increased, like psi 1 has 0 and psi 2 has, you can say that psi 2 has 1 and psi 3 has 2 nodal planes. But in case of psi 2, because it is even, the nodal plane shall pass between the two carbon atoms. But in case of psi 3, because it is odd, so nodal plane shall pass through the carbon atom. Okay, here are the molecular orbitals of propionyl and pentadienyl system. Because we have already considered the simplest possible odd conjugated system with odd number of carbon atoms. So here we are going to see that how pentadienyl system can have these molecular orbitals too. First of all, we know that because there are 5 p orbitals contributing, so there shall be 5 new molecular orbitals formed. But as we know that we have discussed before too, that just like in the previous slide, that how we can calculate the number of bonding and number of anti-bonding molecular orbital. If you use the same formula, just like here n is 5, so if you subtract 5 minus 1, it goes 4. You divide 4 divided by 2, it goes 2. So it means that there are 2 bonding molecular orbital and there are 2 anti-bonding molecular orbital, and because this is odd carbon atom system, so there shall be 1 non-bonding molecular orbital in this case. So we can draw the orbital diagrams of these odd conjugated system, odd carbon containing conjugated system. And the other thing is that how we are going to place the nodes. The first one, that is psi 1, there shall be no node because these are all the constructive way, they are like overlapping in a constructive way. And then in psi 2 we say that number of nodes can be calculated by dividing the number of that is the label or designation, like 2 in the psi 2 minus 1, so it means 2 minus 1 goes 1. So if there are odd number of nodes, and we say that they shall be in the middle of carbon atom. So in case of psi 3, we have 2 nodes here, and they go through the carbon these carbon atom. And then in psi 4 there are 3 nodes, and in psi 5 there are 5 nodes. We know that the electron filling is that is cation, it may be cation or anion or radical, but electrons are always filled according to Aufbau principle. But here we also have to consider that these electron filling follows both of these Hund's rule, or you can say Pauli's-Ecuyer principle. And what does they say? That they say that electrons shall be filled according to the increasing energy level. Like the lowest should be filled before, and then the higher ones are filled with higher energies are filled. And in case there are two electrons present, then they shall try to remain unpaired with the opposite spins. Anyways, in case of like you can say propionyl system, when we talk about anion, then we have four electrons, because there are three carbons. Two of them are like the part of this carbon double bond, so they have one electron each. And in case the third carbon atom, it may have two electrons in case of anion, so it goes 4 electron count in total. In case of radical, there is one electron on the p orbital, and in this case total number of electrons goes 3. In cation, there is no electron present on the third carbon atom, so there are total 2 electrons that are contributed by the pi bond. So in anion, when there are 4 electrons are filled first in psi1 and then they go to psi2. In case of radical, 2 electrons goes in the psi1 and 1 electron goes in psi2. And in cation, there are 2 electrons that stay in psi1. And when we talk about pentadienyl system, so normally there are 4 electrons contributed by 2 pi electrons. There shall be no electron in case of cation, so 4 electrons stay like in psi1 and psi2. In radical, there shall be 5 electrons, they are filled till psi3. And in case of anion, there are 6 electrons that are filled till psi3. In case of we have heptatriene system, like in p conjugated system with odd number of carbon atoms, we have psi7 2. And so in psi7 there are 3 carbon double bonds, so there are 6 electrons contributed by double bonds and 1 electron in case if it is radical. So 6 plus 1 goes 7, and these are filled till psi4. In anion case, there are 8, so these are 4 orbitals are filled. In case of cation, there are 6 electrons, so these are filled till psi3. So this is how we can categorize them, and we can apply symmetry elements on these psi1, psi2 and psi3. If you consider psi1 with respect to mirror plane, so it means that this is symmetric, because if we have we cut through the middle carbon atom, then it looks symmetric. But it is asymmetric with respect to C2, because if you just rotate it by 180 degrees, and all the carbon signs, they are inverted, and you can't like superimposable, you can't get superimposable images. In case of psi2, this one is asymmetric with respect to mirror plane, because they are not equal halves. And if you rotate it by 180 degree, then you get the same type of superimposable type of image. So it is symmetric with respect to C2. In case of psi3, again it is symmetric with respect to mirror plane if the mirror plane passes through the central carbon atom, but it is asymmetric with respect to C2 axis, because if you rotate it, then the sign invariants are same. Okay, here is an example of this. You can say that electrocyclization of these odd number of carbon atoms, a cyclopropyl tosylate. So here is the solubilisis of cyclopropyl tosylate basically. If you talk about tosylate, that tosylate is a good Lewin group, and when we talk about this first case, then we have this intermediate which is that has positive charge and on the cyclopentane ring, but this 3-membered ring, it is highly strained. So the cyclopropyl cation is not a stable intermediate, and electrocyclic ring opening occurs readily here. So when we talk about a 3-carbon containing system that has that can undergo electrocyclization, we say that electrocyclization is basically interconvertible, or you can say that it has another process going on side by side, that is ring opening reaction. So in this case, if you talk about ring opening reaction, then in this cyclopropane type of intermediate, or you can say cyclopropenyl cation intermediate, it can go and ring opening reaction to this cyclopropenyl cation, or you can say allylic cation. Therefore, what happens that in the solubilizes of cyclopropyl tosylate in acetic acid, if we have acetic acid here, then of course solubilizes mean that you are just like hydrolysis, we say that is a breakdown of a particular compound by using water. But in this case, acetic acid is the you can say that nucleophile here. So acetic acid helps in the solubilisis, that is the breakdown of cyclopropyl tosylate, because tosylate is good leaving group. So acetate, when it attacks, so tosylate it goes. So in first case, we say that this is a two-step process. With first step, cyclopropyl cation is formed that undergoes a fast reaction to this intermediate, and then this intermediate undergoes this reaction with acetic acid, that is very fast. But in this first case, we say that this is a three-step process. But what happens actually is that solubilizes can proceed through cyclopropyl cation 2, and then this cyclopropyl followed by the rearrangement to allyl cation. It was a first case, but it can proceed directly to allyl cation 2. However, अब इन दोनों में दो पॉसिबिलिटीज़ थी हमारे पास. एक ये था कि cyclopropenyl cation बनता, and then it goes to we have allylic cation, and then allylic cation जो है वो that is attacked by acetate nucleophile, and then it goes to allylic acetate. But in this case, a cyclopropyl acetate. But the second case, it goes that it gives that we get this cyclopropenyl cation directly, and then it can undergo the you can say attack by the acetate. So experimental observation, they indicate that ring opening is a concerted process. So we say that the first step, that is there is no cyclopropenyl cation is formed. We just get from the cyclopropyl tosylate, we get this propyl cation directly, and then it goes it gets attacked by the acetic acid. So this is the second case actually. And there are also other examples of this case, that solubilizes reaction of other cyclopropyl halides, cyclopropyl sulfonates, or diazotization of cyclopropyl amine in aqueous solution. They also give allylic products. So the same way. Here is the further explanation, that is how the breaking of carbon and you can say that this X are leaving group bond and cyclopropane ring opening. Basically, these are the concerted process and involve backside attack on the carbon X bond by the electrons of the opening S bond of the cyclopropane ring, just like the backside attack by a nucleophile in SN2 reaction. As you can see here, basically we are talking about the ring opening reaction here. So we have a leaving group, that is X on carbon atom. If you talk about where it is written LUMO, the very next carbon to that thing, that carbon atom has X attached to it. So when ring opening happens, then the other carbon atom, that is the, you can say the rear one, it attacks just like the rounded arrow is shown. So it attacks, the sigma bond is broken here, and then this bond electrons attack on the this carbon atom having X. So this CX basically is attacked by the other carbon atom. So this is how ring opening takes place, but the attack is from the rear side, just like in the back side of in case of SN2 reaction. So we say that as the cationic transition state has two electrons, therefore under in this we say that cationic में यही होता है ना कि there are two electrons and the third p orbital doesn't have any electrons. So because these are two electrons, so we have some rules like it falls into the category where we have 4n plus 2 pi system. So it means that When n is 0, then there are total number of pi electrons as 2. So in this case we say that thermal conditions, under thermal conditions, distrotatory modes of ring opening are symmetrically allowed. We have this generalized rule, we read them before. So these are the two ways of distrotatory मोशन. डिस्ट्रोटेटरी मोशन में यही होता है ना कि आपके पास जो है वो क्लियर रूल है कि हाउ द टर्मिनल कार्बन एटम्स दे मूव. सो इन दिस केस देयर आर टू वेज ऑफ डिस्ट्रोटेटरी openings. However, due to backside attack, ring opening takes place only by one mod. ये चीज़ है ना, इसी को नाम देते हैं टॉर्क्यू सिलेक्टिविटी का. मतलब इसमें क्या है कि टॉर्क्यू, इसके बारे में हम नेक्स्ट स्लाइड पे भी डिस्कस करेंगे कि टॉर्क्यू सिलेक्टिविटी क्या होती है. बट here what you can remember is that because the orbital attack can only happen from one side, that is the एक साइड से तो लिविंग ग्रुप जा रहा है ना, तो दूसरी साइड से अटैक करेंगे ये सिग्मा इलेक्ट्रॉन्स जो है वो इस कार्बन पे. तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि इनके पास अटैक करने के लिए सिर्फ एक पॉसिबिलिटी रह जाती है, जबकि हमें पता है कि डिस्ट्रोटेटरी मोड में ये दोनों तरफ से अटैक कर सकता था. मतलब कि दोनों, हम जो है वो कहते हैं कि ये ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में बेसिकली इनकी मूवमेंट है ना. तो ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में मूवमेंट जो है वो ये भी हो सकता था कि ये जो कार्बन हम जिसकी बात कर रहे हैं ये एक क्लॉकवाइज और दूसरा एंटी क्लॉकवाइज मूव कर रहा है. तो ये भी तो हो सकता था कि जो पहला कार्बन जिसको हम क्लॉकवाइज मूव करा रहे हैं वो एंटी क्लॉकवाइज मूव कर जाता है. लेकिन इसमें दो डिस्ट्रोटेटरी मोड होने के बावजूद एक ही होता है. उसकी रीज़न ये है कि एक कार्बन जिसने अटैक करना है इस एक्स कंटेनिंग कार्बन पे, वो सिर्फ बैक साइड से अटैक कर सकता है क्योंकि लिविंग ग्रुप में जाना है. ये हमने पहले बात की है कि जैसे हमारे पे पहले दो केसेस थे ना, कि एक में पहले जो है हम कह रहे थे केस 1 में हमने टॉसिलेट में कहा था कि टॉसिलेट ग्रुप लीव करता है, उसके बाद हमारे पास जो है वो कैटायन बनता है इंटरमीडिएट. उसके बाद फिर हम प्रोपिनाइल या एलाइलिक रेडिकल की बात एलाइलिक कैटायन की बात करते हैं. लेकिन हमने कंक्लूड क्या किया था कि केस 2 इज़ फाइनल एक्सपेरिमेंटली प्रूफ, बिकॉज इसमें क्या है कि जो रिंग ओपनिंग रिएक्शन है वो टॉसिलेट की मौजूदगी में ही होता है. तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि एक्स जब लीव करेगा तभी जो है वो रिंग ओपनिंग हो सकेगी. इट मीन्स दैट हेयर वी हैव टॉर्क्यू सिलेक्टिविटी. टॉर्क्यू सिलेक्टिविटी की डेफिनेशन हम पढ़ेंगे, लेकिन इसमें आपको बेसिकली याद ये रखना है कि टॉर्क्यू सिलेक्टिविटी इज़ बेसिकली दिस कीमो सिलेक्टिविटी वेयर वन स्टीरियो आइसोमर इज प्रेफर्ड देन द अदर, बिकॉज डिस्ट्रोटेटरी मोड में हमारे पास यहाँ पे दो पॉसिबिलिटीज़ हो सकती थी बट ओनली वन इज़ फॉर्म हियर. So inward this in there is written this in is basically inward movement of these groups. So inward movement is disfavored, so we have this less stable kind of product. So you only talk about the outward movement of electrons here. Here you can see that solvolysis of cyclopropyl tosylate. अब जब हम आउटवर्ड मूवमेंट की बात करते हैं, दिस इज़ द केस व्हेन these are moving outward, then outward is basically favored. Why outward is favored? In this case you have more stable product is formed. So you can compare this slide with the other slide. This is distrotatory outward movement of electrons, sigma electrons, and in previous slide we saw distrotatory inward movement of sigma electrons. And this is how when we talk about the thermal cyclization of cyclopropyl anion, basically in case of cyclopropyl cation we have already seen it, but in case of cyclopropyl anion what happens that these electrons, in that case we had like, because this was the allylic cation. So allylic cation falls in when we talk about 4n plus 2 pi electron system or 4n pi electron system. So when n is 0, then it means that it was a 4n plus 2 pi electron system for allylic cation. But in case of cyclopropyl anion there are 4 electrons. It means that you have 4n pi electronic system here. So we have some rules already in this, we call them selection rules. So in selection rule we say that when there are 4 electrons, then chondrotatory mode of motion, rotation, you can say it is favored. So in this case, when electrons move in a conjugatory fashion, we get a cyclopropenyl anion type of you can say product. So this is the further elaboration that how the electrons movement take place. In quantitative, we say that electrons, you can say the groups move, the terminal carbon atom, they move in the same direction. They either it could be clockwise or anti-clockwise, and this is psi2 because this is the HOMO of this system. So after quantitative motion, we have this bond, and this is how thermal cyclization happens in cyclopropyl anion. Okay, I shall upload these all books in the classroom too, so you can download these books, and you can have a look on go through these books and go look for the topics that I have taught you, and that will be very easy for you to follow the lecture then. And most of the, I mean, I didn't go for other things from the other materials, and most of the things that I taught are from these. Here's an assignment for you that you have to designate the bonding, non-bonding and anti-bonding orbitals of heptatriaryl cation system. And if you follow the same rule for construction of molecular orbital diagram, then you can designate that how many bonding, anti-bonding and non-bonding orbitals can be there.